go. Welcome back to Zoom Racing League, everybody. Our Division 1 drivers are making their final preparations for their race. The track has been revealed to them only 2 hours ago, and we're out here in the Ardennes Forest in Belgium. The Circuit de France de Spa-Francorchamps is one of the most iconic race tracks on the Formula 1 calendar, with 20 turns throughout a 4.32 mile long circuit. Spa is seen as one of the ultimate tests for a driver, and the Eau Rouge and Radion Corridor combination is one of the most spectacular sights in Formula 1. And as if this circuit itself wasn't difficult enough, Spa has a habit of producing very unpredictable weather. So far, we're seeing a little bit of overcast conditions. Not sure there's going to be any rain. We're going to find that out in just a moment. It's John Ranger here in the booth with me with Sanjay Spanini. Spanini, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Doing well, Ranger. Excited for the good race out here today.
Yeah, we're promised a very good one. We have most of our drivers out here currently on their warm-up laps. A couple drivers on inters being careful about the usage of their soft hard compounds. Obviously, we got enough time to go at least easily three fast laps here, despite this being a long track. It's a short qualifying moment. So we'll see which driver here comes out on top. We've had very spectacular season throughout the two first rounds, Sanjay, and I'll let you go ahead and walk us through the standings. Already 2 races down in this season with 6 different drivers on the podiums already this season.
I mean, we saw last week out in Ryan picks up it, or it's now leading the championship by 2 points from Quinton, which Quinton not here today. So that's going to be a big blow to him in the standings. We'll see if he can keep the title fight up. But yeah, Hudson, as we expect, who probably would be challenging the title, as he's probably the most successful ZRL driver in D1, is in 3rd place, 10 points behind Ryan. So I think he's looking for a good outing here today. In 4th and 5th place, we got Era, Cam, Magnuson, Cube, Bechtel, who's missing out today and has a reserve of Mac reserving for him today. So he might drop in the standings too, but hopefully Aston Martin can get some good points out of him. Marcel Pabst in 8th, Nicholas Pichet 9th, and he missed out last race, but he got a solid P2 in Saudi Arabia first round. So I'm excited. I think he's going to do pretty well here too. Alpha Tauris had a great weekend last time around. Maxime Buelu scored 20 points, is now sitting in 10th place. We got Anand Trivedi scoring, sitting in a solid P11. Marc Olivier Bastine, he's supposed to be also a title contender. DNF first race, but did get a podium in Imola, so I think we also can see him fighting for the front end here. Then we have Kyle Blemmons in the Red Bull, Wild Poros, Nick Hamrick, Potato Skin, Jack Fletcher, Duncan McCamick, and Nathan Doan to round it off. And Apex, who hasn't been here. I think it's now Fred. So Fred is now taking the Alpine spot, but yeah, we'll see what he can do in this new team. And yeah, Mercedes are 11 points ahead in the constructors championship, with Red Bull just behind. So yeah, I think this is a crucial point in the season to see how many teams can pull away here, and see who's actually really there to fight for the championship.
Yeah, so far it's been a spectacular season for mid-tier teams. When you look at Alfa Romeo, the Williams, I gotta say kudos to the AlphaTauri so far holding up P4 in the Constructors' Championship. No thanks. Really great teamwork. We saw them in last weekend in Imola with Magnus and Cube and Maxime Beaulieu just doing great work, following each other, using each other's DRS, working together as a team. So that worked out really well for them, and it's already paying dividends. A couple laps are coming in already. We're seeing Ryan Newton, last week's pole sitter, if I'm not mistaken, Spanini, well, right at a 140.9, 3/10 ahead of Marc-Olivier Bassin, his teammate. Clearly, the Mercedes, once again this season, have a driver lineup, and we spoke about it last week, right, Spanini, where Ryan Newton was a pick 10 driver, which was rather shocking for us, and I think a lot of teams are starting to regret that decision. He had his first win last week in ZRL.
Yeah, I think Mercedes really did. Like, I'll always say it every week. Mercedes really somehow pulled out probably the best draft in D1. Of course, they had first pick and they picked up Mark, but having Ryan as a 10th place pick is it's pretty crazy. And I think they definitely it's all in their hands to try to win the constructors at least. But I think Ryan can also give it a good go at drivers championship also.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny part of that is both of those drivers on controllers. So we've got a bunch of
Yeah.
people here with those crazy sim racing setups. I myself dropped 4-digit numbers on a Fanatec setup, and these guys are beating me by a mile with what kind of Xbox or PlayStation controller, whatever they're using. So, I mean, they're absolute beasts on tracks. I'm curious to see how they'd fare with a wheel setup, but I think that at that point that would be unfair for the rest of the grid. Real quick information here: Josh Mulder, in the Haas, the second driver in the Haas, with the rollover penalty points from last season, has accumulated enough points to be serving a qualifying ban. We're in race 3 this season. He's already got his own qualifying ban, so the Haas will not be participating in qualifying, as is I would assume so. It's the Haas to be confirmed, right? But we've not seen Apex this season. He hasn't been there the first 2 races, and I'm aware that the team principal has been looking to replace that seat if the driver was not showing up. And Freddie Rizal has been, desperate to get a driving seat in Division 1, and he's been trying to reserve and was maybe, pushed off of the Division 1 draft, and now he finds himself in a seat in the Alpine. He also has to serve a qualifying ban. So we'll see how Freddie Rizal, manages his race here in Spa. Lately, there's been multiple incidences with him, mainly involving Kyle Blevins, but there's no doubt about it that on track, Freddie Rizal is a very rapid driver. His worst enemy is only himself. Whether he gets himself into trouble with other drivers or simply loses control of the car and ruins his race. But if you on pure raw pace, he is absolutely a quick driver, and he has the pace to be performing and bringing in points for the Alpine. So we'll see how Ethan Patel manages his new driver in those circumstances.
Yeah, and I mean Fred also actually as well as Beamer, they both just came from another league race where they came 1-2, where Beamer won and Fred came in second place. So they're a little warmed up. Maybe it could be on the other end where they could be a little bit tired from racing. So we'll see how they do here. But yeah, Fred has that quali ban, but honestly, out of all the tracks to take a quali ban, this is not a bad one. It's a good overtaking track. A lot of places to fight and fight other people in. A lot of room to make moves. But yeah, unlucky that he has that quali ban. But I think he can move up the field, and with safety cars and maybe some strategy decisions that they'll make.
Absolutely. Only 10 drivers so far have put on a lap. We've got, as you're mentioning, Anon Trivedi, who is on his outlap. I know there's a bit of a mistake there on his first name. I'm going to have to correct that later on. Nick Pichet, who missed out last race in the Alfa Romeo. He's got a 149, just barely 200s quicker than Ryan Newton, sets up provisional pole currently. There's a lot of drivers behind him who are either starting their quick lap or about to finish it. So we'll see how that updates on the standings. But we only have half the grid here with fast laps so far. Nick Pichet, who proved last season as a reserve, I believe he was in the Williams back then, or maybe in this same Alfa Romeo, I forget. But he was having an absolute bomb of a race, far ahead of everybody, showing that he absolutely masters Spa-Francorchamps. And well, he had a puncture. I want to think 1 or 2 laps till the end of the race. His tire punctured. He was on softs, and it happened early in the race. I think it was after the long straight and the camel straight where the puncture happened. So it was the worst timing, and it practically ruined his race. So he'll be lucky to be, get a bit of. He's definitely driving with a chip on his shoulder a little bit. He knows he's a lot quicker than most of these drivers, at least if he's considering last season's race. So he's definitely a driver that we'll have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and I mean, he already showed that he is here to compete with the top end of the field out in Saudi Arabia, and getting a nice P2, and maybe even with one more lap he could have gotten P1. And it's he seems to like this track a lot too, so I think we're gonna see a good shootout for pole. Ryan is also on his fast lap, so maybe we'll see if he can react to what Pichet put up. But yeah, almost everyone I think is on a lap right now. I think the first being Anand Trivedi.
Yeah, it's going to be Beamer, definitely. He's just around the bus stop chicane. We'll see how cleanly he could take that. We're on board with him. Goes as wide as possible on the track. Careful to get on the curb, not to have some spin on the car. That's a 141.7. That's good for P7 so far. Just a little bit quicker than Nick Hamrick, and he's got about a tenth and a half about if he wants to get faster than Maxime Beaulieu, his time currently is P6, which is a very respectable time. Speaking of which, is he the one coming across the track? I think he is, but he's going to the pit, so he settled his time earlier. We're going to see Marc-Olivier Bastien. That looks like a fast lap that he's about to finish there. He goes cleanly through the bus stop chicane. And we have a new pole. That is a 149.18. 300s quicker than Nick Pichet.
Yeah, very close up top. I think we're going to see some 0.8s, maybe a 0.7. It has to be quite the lap for that to come out, but it looks like everyone. It seems the pole time is going to be a 0.8. It looks like.
Oh my goodness!
Never mind. 0.6 from Ryan Newton. He's solidifying himself. He's confident. He's coming in here with confidence. Off of already a pole position in Imola and a race win. And he's showing it off right now. And that's a statement right there.
What a statement lap. I mean, since the beginning, we saw drivers like Era already at 141.0, and then Nick Pichet, and very slowly dwindling. Now suddenly Ryan Newton creates himself a 3/10 gap, or almost a 3/10 gap, between him and his teammate in P2, an absolute monster of a lap already. And he's got time to go back into the pits and go out for another fast lap. So I'll be curious to see if he does go for another fast lap, or if he tries to go to be, take the safe decision and maybe save a set of softs depending on the situation in the race. That'll be interesting to see. But so far we're seeing most drivers having succeeded in putting in lap times. Other drivers we haven't mentioned because things were going on. Eric Cavallo at about 141.0, P4 in the Williams Hudson Pool. 3/10 behind. So I'll say between P2 and P4, it's really close there. And then we suddenly have a 3/10 gap between Ryan Newton and P2, and then Carvalho and Poole in P4, P5. But then all the way down from P5 until easily, I'll say P13, it is very close. There's only half a second separating all those drivers. So we'll see how these guys do. But the middle of the grid, that midfield pack in Division 1, it is all out. They are going all out. It's always been a lot of battles throughout the season so far, and I don't think this race will be any different.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of points out there for the second seed drivers, right, for their respective teams. And that's where they need to pull their weight. So yeah, it's quite a tight battle here. But you know, we also want to bring up like Hudson Poole, right? He's not known to be, you know, the best qualifier in D1, but his race pace is always his standout quality. And you can't count him out for a win here. Like you see, he's like nearly like no what nine or a second out. No, I can't do math.
He's about
But
7/10 out from Ryan
seven
Newton.
tenths out, right? Yeah, like um yeah. I don't think we can count him out because who knows, Red Bull could be geared up for a race pace instead of a quali pace here, since overtaking is more like easier. Easier is not the right word, but you can overtake well here. So a good race pace here could go a long way. Um Maybe a little bit lower downforce to help out in the straights. But yeah, we can't count out Hudson Poole and maybe other drivers in this midfield that are running a bit different setup that's more geared towards the race than quali.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking about the actual race, you mentioned it. There's a lot of space and a lot of opportunity here to make some overtakes happen. A lot of drivers are going out on the track. And the answer to my question earlier, Ryan Newton, he has retired from the session, so he's very confident about his pace there. He's not sure a guy like Bastet, Pichet, or Cavallo are going to be able to push him off from P1. And even if so, he might just find himself P2 or P3 at best. Sanjay, to go back on the racing probabilities here, as we're on board with Nick Hamrick, he's going to be the first driver to make the fast lap happen. And just the final moments of this short qualifying, there's a lot of racing and overtaking opportunities during the race, but you still have to be really careful where you pick your battles, because
Yeah.
what was the last Wednesday I was commentating in a different race in Spa, and if you weren't careful, you could easily cause incidents, and other drivers were impacted in those incidents without even being part of the action too. So the curbs are very aggressive here. They're a little bit more elevated in certain areas. Blanchimont is, or Pouon, I should say, actually, the left-hander here, as Nick Hamrick is about to get on it. It looks like, very rapid pace, but you get on the inside line on a driver there, you definitely are going to cause some issues. So, it's really important to choose your moments, as you do with every track, but you can't get too impatient here in Spa. And as I'm saying this, I'm just noticing on the track map, Sanjay,
Yeah.
look at the traffic in bus stop chicane.
Big traffic.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
I think Nick might run into the back end of this, but everyone's starting their lap as fast as they can. There's only 4 seconds left.
Some guys will
I
not
don't
be
know if
able
all
to.
the drivers. Yeah.
3 drivers have missed out, and that is both Ferraris. Marcel Paps, Jack Fletcher, and Mack, who's the reserve driver in the Aston Martin, will not be able to complete a lap. Nick Hamrick is just about to cross the line. He's improved his time, and he's now P9.
Look how close every driver is to each other on their lap.
Wow.
They really want to get the best track possible, but at the same time, you run the risk of not making it. And that's what happened to the Ferraris, which is they missed out on just a few seconds. They were so close to making it there, but I mean, that happens. That's why Nick went first. He went earlier than a lot of them
And
and
so
ended up
did
doing his
Magnussen
lap.
Q, by the way, and how he is P8.
Yeah.
Sorry for cutting you off there. But yeah, now these drivers find themselves possibly taking some corners in dirty air, and that just makes things a little bit hectic, and obviously they're not going to be improving under time. And there's a slow Red Bull, I believe that's Kyle.
No, it's Hudson.
Oh, Hudson has invalidated his lap, so Cal will be the next driver across the line. We're going to get on board with him. He's got Duncan McCamick behind him. Cal Blevins with P5. That's a 141.1. Very respectable time. Where does the Alpine of Duncan go? That's P13. And everybody's coming in at the same time. Nick Pichet is going to go for P2, 147. Great time from him. Next is in McLaren. That's Nathan Doan. That goes for P13. And Antrovetti's P12 at best. And Eric Cavallo goes pole. Eric Cavallo just hit a 140.6. That is nearly half a second improvement on his lap just before that. Quite suddenly, we find Eric Cavallo just get quicker than Ryan Newton by 0.03 of a second.
Yeah, I mean, what a lap from Era. We know he's also supposed to be competing towards the top end. He's been unlucky a bit, and he got a podium out in the round 1, and in round 2 he got in some carnage into turns 2 and 3, so he didn't have a great Imola race. But yeah, now good to see him back in the front. But yeah, Era with pole position by 300ths.
That is absolutely insane. And look at the teams, the teammates being together. Ryan Newton and Bastien are going to be starting on the second row, or part of the second row, I should say. It's P2 and P3, Nick Piché P4. The Red Bulls are together. Cal Blevins and Hudson Poole. Cam Bourne in P7. Great performance from him again. Marcel Paps. And then we got both AlphaTauri's, Cube and Bollier in 9 and 10. Nick Hamrick and Antrovetti, Nathan Doan, Potodiskin, otherwise known as Kai Guo, Duncan McCamick, Jack Fletcher, Mac, and then the 2 drivers who have not qualified, Josh Mulder and Freddie Rizal.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan, I think still has that strategy upper hand right now with that extra set of soft tires that he didn't use. Any safety car shenanigans that can happen, he's there to use it. So yeah, unlucky that he didn't get pulled there, but I mean, he still put that lap out in the middle of the session and then retired. Like, that is a statement. That is saying I'm confident going into this race, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen to turn 1.
Yeah, turn 1 is going to be a nice opportunity for some mayhem. And before the race gets going, as I usually do with Nathan, Sajay, I'm going to start this tradition with you now. It's all this time for people. I'm always going to recommend people to get a drink, get a snack for this race, because we are in for one heck of a race. I've got my drink here, my adult beverage, ready to go. And,
yeah, I have a root beer.
Well, there you go. That's 2 different kind of beers. That works. Yeah, definitely need the beverage to keep. Otherwise, I'm gonna lose my voice, as I've done for the past 2 weeks. Now, red lights are going. We're about to have one heck of a race here. We're seeing a lot of different strategies in the tires, and away we go. The Belgium Grand Prix is underway. It's a great start there from Eric Cavallo. Let's get on P3 position here on Bastien's cam. We've got Ryan Newton using his softs that he hasn't used, and he may have the advantage. He's very aggressive on the inside corner, and he has overtaken Eric Cavallo up Eau Rouge and Radion. On the Camel Straight, though, Eric Cavallo definitely is going to have the slipstream to make an overtake. So this is where, when Ryan Newton finds himself vulnerable, he's going to have to be aggressive on the battery. And he still keeps that inside line on Eric Cavallo. Is that going to be a clean action? It is. Eric Cavallo that has to avoid him a little bit. He gets pinched, and there's a bit of a contact in the back. Definitely Williams of Nick Hamrick in the back, who's lost it in that chicane, in Les Combes chicane, turn 7, 8, 9. Hudson Poole finds himself in P3, so while Eric Cavallo was avoiding or got pinched by Ryan Newton, he kind of backed up Bastien Piché, and Hudson Poole took advantage of that situation. He's also a driver on the soft tires, so let's just take a look at the strategies being used currently. It's a total mix-up, Sanjay, between soft, mediums, and hards here.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's. I think this is the kind of race where you can go medium hard, soft medium, whatever you want. It really comes down to the condition of safety cars, how much you get held up by other drivers. I think it was the right decision for Ryan and really the top 5 to try to get on the softer tires and try to pull away from the rest of the pack. And I mean, Ryan did exactly what he needed to do, whereas use those soft tires, use that extra grip you get at the beginning, and try to pull a gap. And he did. He is now more than a DRS length from Era. And he's just going to try to keep building on that. And Hudson's also going to try to make a move on Era to try to compete with Ryan.
Yeah, I think Ryan Newton's strategy is a very fair one. He wants to pull away, as you mentioned, from Eric Cavallo, get away from that DRS time that will be available starting lap 3. So you want to be away, you want to be a second difference between, if you're in the lead, between the P2 driver who has now been switched over. It's not Newton, it's not Cavallo now in the Williams in P2. It is Hudson Poole, as you mentioned, who finds himself vulnerable in the Camel Straight. The slipstream is very powerful here in this game, and so now Hudson Poole on the soft tire is just going to try to run away from Eric Cavallo before the DRS gets activated, and try to see if he could catch up to Ryan Newton purely on the race pace here. That's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. Otherwise, throughout the pack so far, Bastier, Pichet, Cam Bourne is going to get a couple positions now, find himself P6. Cal Blevins had a bit of a slower start. I think the hard tires, you know, it's going to take a couple laps for them to come alive, definitely. However, we're still seeing Magnus and Q, Max and Bollier, the two drivers following each other again, as they did in Imola. Not in the same position throughout the race, however. We'll see how their teamwork shows off, but this is, you know, this just reminds me of Aston Martin times with Maxime Bollier and, oh my god. The OT principle of Aaron Allmeyer. God damn! Thank you. My brain just buffered there for so long. I'm so sorry, Aaron. Like, he was my OT principal as well, in Aston Martin. But yeah, you know, Maxime Bollier and Aaron Allmeyer definitely worked a lot and drove closely together in Division 1. So this is not unfamiliar territory for the AlphaTauri drivers, as the non-Trivedi takes P10 from Maxime Bollier into turn 1.
Yeah, I think we're also, you got to think about this. This track was only revealed to these drivers 2 hours ago. And now they didn't get a ton of time to practice for race strategy. They probably only did quali practice, really. So, I mean, a lot of drivers are just trying to go off memory. Maybe they raced it recently. What is the best strategy to go here? Maybe any setup tweaks. They had to do it as quick as they can. So, I mean, I think that also helps with the amount of like variety we got of tires here. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Pichet right now. He's part of the top 5 drivers right now. He's on the hard tire. And honestly, if he can just stick right behind the medium runners and use their pace to just pull them along, he could be really fast at the end of the race.
Yeah, I think a driver like Pichet, he's very confident about his race pace, so that's probably the strategy he wanted. Instead of battling for the top 5 immediately, there's a sector flag. Something has happened in the back here, trying to figure out who it is. It looks like it's Cal Blevins.
Oh, he's lost his front wing. He's going to be pitting.
Oh yeah, there's major damage on the front wing. They're kind of surprised it didn't trigger a virtual or a total safety car in those circumstances, but I'd be curious to know if that was just driver error or if there was contact there. It's not something we've seen, and the whole mid pack is very tightly knit together. So yeah, unfortunately for Cal Blevins, he has started his race in P5. Now he's on the hards, and already by lap 4 he's got to replace his front wing, change his tires. I would assume going through the mediums, and so he's basically going to be hoping for a safety car now.
Yeah, and Ryan is maintaining his gap with Hudson here. They're both similar battery. Hudson's got a little bit more, but the problem with Hudson is he's got a DRS train behind him that he has to watch out for.
Yeah, that's exactly where you want Hudson Poole to be if you're Ryan Newton. You want him to have to battle for that. Oh, what's happened in the Camel Straight?
Yeah, it looks like Freddie lost a place. That's all I saw. I think it's okay. It was Magnus and Cube.
Yeah.
He's all the way back.
Lost it in the Camel Straight. Can't get the camera angle to see if he's got damage, but he's not necessarily racing like he has any. So definitely a contact with a driver, I would assume. I doubt he's definitely not the kind of driver who would lose control of his car in a straight line. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe he might have to go into the pits there, but he lost it in a Camel Straight. Just to go back real quick here on Hudson Poole, I mean, he's got to watch out for Era behind him, who's sticking within the DRS timing. He's half a second out, just about. Depending on their strategies and their as you mentioned, right, being this a random track, they've only got 2 hours to set up their cars. So who knows if one of these drivers decided to go for the low downforce setup to try to work themselves around there. You see Eric Cavallo definitely gaining here on Hudson Poole. He's got the DRS going to turn 1, and he's gonna have that advantage going into the Camel Straight, also with DRS. And Ryan Newton, he's definitely being a little bit more aggressive on his battery usage in order to keep Hudson Poole away from him.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan's just looking at Hudson. Hudson is using up his battery, so Ryan has to also use his battery to make sure he keeps that gap. But the problem is, look at Era, Mark, Pichet, they all have lots of battery. They're just waiting. They're just waiting to. Oh, actually, as I'm saying it, Era peeks to the inside of Hudson to see if he can go by, but he chooses to back out. But they're just waiting for Hudson to kind of run dry on battery before they make an overtake.
Well, at that point, you got to ask yourself, what's the better strategy to make, right? If you're Hudson Pool, are you fighting for that P2 position and trying to keep Arrow as far away from you as possible? Or given the tire situation, you might decide to let the DRS be the more powerful ally here, lap after lap with the DRS. I'm thinking he wants to keep Arrow away from him because he's got the better pace around Sector 2 and Sector 3 because of those corners, given the tire differences. So I think he's definitely fair game so far.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, like, look, Pichet, he's on the harder compound, and he's just sticking along with them. Like, he's got plenty of battery. He's definitely playing the long run here. And if no safety cars come out, you could put money on Pichet doing some damage at the end of the race.
Yeah, he's definitely put himself in a great position. I'm really curious to see how Newton and Poole are going to manage their tires. At some point, they're going to have to decide if they're going to push it really hard and try to make them last as long as possible, or bite the bullet and head into the pit lane. And that's for all the soft tire runners, honestly, at this point. And you'll notice something else as well. While I'm speaking of that, Sanjay, the whole grid has split in half, just about. Basically, Ryan Newton all the way down to Marcel Paps. That's basically a DRS train, as Eric Cavallo is working his way, has made his way up into second position. And same thing is going to happen also in the back, as Maxime Beaulieu was leading the train there from P8 all the way down, I would say, to Duncan there in P16. Well, he's lost a position to Anand Trivedi.
Yeah, so this is where we're going to start seeing, I think, the soft tires start to give out. I think they're around 35-36% wear, and I think the medium tires are probably in their 20s. So yeah, I think we're going to start seeing some swaps and fighting start to happen here, and that's probably what Ryan wants the most. But look how close Ryan or Era is to Ryan now. He's almost within DRS, so I think the softs are really starting to drop off here. Maybe we might see some pitting. But it might be too early to go on to the mediums.
Yeah, at this point, it's too early to go on the mediums. That would be a soft to hard kind of strategy. And you're right to say that Eric Cavallo definitely has the top end speed here. Clearly, he's cut down right into the third sector. He's cut down the lead by just about 4/10. He's found himself in the DRS zone, so quite suddenly, and interestingly enough, because I mean, Ryan Newton is basically going in a straight line, right, all the way up to the Pouan and bus stop chicane on the soft tires. Seems Era had a lot more pace there, and the top end speed, really, and he's going to find himself in a position where he's going to be able to attack Ryan Newton for the lead. And there's a couple of position changes in the back. Trivedi gaining back a position on Beaulieu, and Mulder as well getting in P11.
Side action up into a Rouge. Oh, and they keep it somewhat clean. Between Freddy and Potato Skin makes that move work.
Yeah, a lot of battles, and you could tell they're going 4 wide almost into the chicane there, into Les Combes. Potato Skin finally
robbed.
Absolute battle there in the midfield, and now we got a sector flag and two. No,
Duncan's
that's
out.
the end. That is the end for Duncan McCamick.
Are we gonna see a safety car though?
Oh my goodness!
He might be off the track where the game is just gonna say it's safe to keep racing.
Well, clearly enough, at the exit of a corner, sadly for the Alpine, I don't know if that was due to contact or simply losing the rear, but he was facing the complete opposite way. So that was a major impact for Duncan, and he is out of the race. That is done and out for the Alpine driver. Here on lap 7, Cal Blevins catching a 3-second time penalty. He's not the first driver to have done so. And there's so much action everywhere. We've got two races going on, mainly Ryan Newton versus Eric Cavallo, and the couple of the drivers in the back fighting for position. But at the same time, everywhere between the midfield, between Max and Bonnier, all the way down to P13 easily is quite a battle there too.
Yeah, I mean, right now Era's caught in a Mercedes sandwich here. Ryan running like definitely has less battery than Era. Era, I think, might be looking for a move here, but he's also got to watch out for Mark, who's probably supporting Ryan, is on comms with Ryan to see what they want to do here. But they're on different strategies, so yeah, if Era does get past Ryan, Ryan might need to also just let Mark by. It looks like they're gonna go make a move. Ryan goes, or Era goes down the inside, makes the move stick, and now he takes the lead of the race.
Yeah, by lap 7, we're definitely talking about potentially pitting here for the soft runners. I think when the soft runners saw that sector flag go up when Duncan McCammon crashed, they were really hoping for a safety car, and sadly there was none. So we're still racing, and now we got to apply the strategy.
Yeah, and is it just me or is it just getting a little cloudier out there?
It most definitely is.
Really gloomy.
Yeah, it suddenly got really gloomy. We've not really talked about weather so much, but just to confirm. Oh, that has changed. Okay. In qualifying, the first time I looked at weather, it looked like it was gonna be overcast and mainly dry. Now
It's
we're
raining.
looking at a potential of rain, and it is raining right now.
Whoa!
And it's
Whoa,
very
where
sudden.
did this come from?
Yeah, it's very sudden rain. It's gonna happen for a short amount of time, and the race near the end should go back to being fully dry. So now, which drivers are going to dive into the pits? It is most definitely not in the top 5. It's a bit too
Yeah,
early
I
for
think
them.
it's too early. Yeah, and we're
Yeah.
not. We really need to see some standing water for these drivers to probably go in. Maybe even DRS turning off. But what a surprise! This makes this race a lot more interesting here.
Yeah, most definitely, and this is what racing in Belgium is all about. Is one second it's all nice and sunny, the other second you're driving and it is definitely raining. One thing that is for sure, I believe we're gonna have to use the intermediate or the wet tires. I don't know if it's gonna go fully into the wets. It's a really interesting weather report we have here. It looks like it's gonna be a sudden downpour, and then it's going to be suddenly sunny. As quick as you saw it go from sunny to rain, well, you're going to see the same thing from rain to sun, and the track drying out and being completely dry by the end of the race. That is provision. Obviously, could be affected by how quick the race is going to be raced. So we will see. We're almost halfway there. We're lap 9 out of 22. I'm not seeing drivers having too much struggle on their rears so far, but I'm assuming the soft tire runners are going to be the first one to get into the pit.
Yeah, even now it's not really raining hard enough. I think, but then we know how the game, like the rain just immediately evolves into wet conditions, right? Like it happens so quickly. It could happen within the next lap. Like right now it looks bone dry, but within one lap, boom, there's just standing water everywhere. So yeah, I think it's too early right now for Era or Ryan to be thinking about going into the pits. But yeah, this is really comes down to gut feeling and your engineers maybe telling you when it's about to pick up. I'm starting to see a bit more drops of rain. Starting to see the road get a little darker. It could be next lap. As we see Hudson Poole, he makes the decision to go into the for medium tires. Okay.
Wow. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna trust the drivers more than I'm gonna trust whatever tool I'm using for the weather, because if those drivers are going for dries, the sector flags, is there an incident or is that just?
So even Beamer also comes in for a new set of mediums. I think these drivers think this rain is going to remain like this, not get too wet, rather put on a fresh set of tires for better grip and just try to tough out the wet parts of the track.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting to see. Obviously, right now the intermediates are not the tires to go to. Just what I'm seeing is pretty high. Yeah, it looks like it's a lot of rain that's supposed to come in. So I'm really just curious about what's going to happen in those circumstances. But we'll keep an eye on the drivers. I think they're going to be the ones that are going to dictate the tire strategy, considering the weather at this point. Obviously, my weather report is not as accurate, I believe, as theirs for some reason. Nonetheless, 2 drivers went to the pits. 3 actually, from what I'm seeing. who were on the softs are now on the mediums. So definitely they feel that this weather is very raceable still on the slicks.
Yeah, so this is an interesting call. This is one of those things where you either get it really right or really wrong, and yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's not getting a lot wetter. I mean, same amount of downpour. Track looks somewhat the same as it has been for the last lap.
Ryan Newton is in the pits, so he's another driver we're going to keep an eye on which tires he's going to go for. But real quick like that, I think he's going to go for the mediums. Yeah, he's going for the mediums, as the mechanics are out with the mediums already. So I was going to say, you don't want to be one of those soft tire runners to jump the gun a little too early on the intermediates, because that's absolutely going to ruin your race. In those circumstances, well, they're going on the fresher mediums and will have better race pace. Two other drivers in the rear going in for their new tires. That is Mac and Freddie Rizzo. Everybody's on mediums. Oh, it looks like Freddie is going for a new wing as well.
He's also going to put on a fresh set of soft tires. It looks like probably not fresh, probably a used set from Quali, but yeah, it looks like he had to change his wing. So he's going to try to go on the soft tires. Maybe if it rains a lot, he can try to make the most time with these set of tires and come in and pit for inners. But a lot of drivers here are hoping that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well, we know he goes completely across the line there on the pit exit. That's something that might be looked at, because he completely lost control and caught his car way out. But concerning Freddie, he has not done anything in qualifying, right? Because of the qualifying ban. So he definitely has fresh set of softs.
Yeah.
And he's using them to his advantage with the overtake here done on a Mac for P17. Back in the front, Nick Pichet is on the offensive. He's cut down the gap. He's now found himself in P2 after drivers in front of him had to pit. He's overtaken Maccabi Bestin. So now he's on the offensive for Eric Cavallo's lead of the race. He's about half a tenth behind him. Yet Carvalho's been a little bit more conservative on the battery power, so we'll be seeing how they go. And oh, that's interesting. Nick Pichet is going into the pits.
Yeah,
he's on hard tires.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Before the medium tires bit, he's gonna go on probably the medium tire, I guess. No, he's going on
intermediates.
Okay, so now we're starting to see if drivers. But I mean, look, Mark comes out on hard tires.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, but then we see Cam Bourne on inter tire. So this is where it starts to get really interesting.
Oh yeah.
So Hudson Poole is already back up to third place with his new fresh set of tires. Goes into second place. And is only, let's see if it's only 16 seconds behind Era, but the track is looking really greasy right now.
Yeah, it's suddenly got greasy. And we don't have any mention of DRS being deactivated, so Hudson's made the overtake. He's got two cars. He's smack in the middle of the track. They got to go around him. It's a high-risk moment there, and he still keeps the position there.
Look at Lightning, or Pichet. New inter tires. We can see the physical spray. He's much faster than them right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you could definitely tell. And most drivers ahead of him have tires that are worn down already that haven't been changed since the beginning of the race. So the right call has been made here, and Nick Pichet in P4. He's absolutely going to take advantage of the fact that the drivers in front of him have to go in for intermediate tires given the conditions. He's got Ryan Newton at his mercy in front of him, as has got Hudson Poole. I'm expecting to find Eric Cavallo. Yeah, he's probably going to be going aggressively on his battery, trying to get through the pit lane as quick as possible. I was really curious, and this is like my favorite part of the race, but I wouldn't want to be a driver in these conditions, Sanjay, because it's always, a high risk, high reward kind of situation.
Yeah, and I mean, let's look at a couple drivers that definitely I think have it right now. And DRS is now disabled. So Pichet, Cam Bourne, Nathan Doan, and Nick Hamrick. So both McLarens, they put onto the inters at the perfect time, and they're getting a lot of lap time out of this. Cam Bourne is already ninth place, and people in front of them have not pitted. They're all. I mean, we're gonna see all these drivers going to pit. So I think he's about to jump like 6 positions here. No, probably not 6, but he's gonna gain a lot of. Actually, no, he actually might gain like 6 positions here.
Absolutely, and there's drivers here who are absolutely ruining the race. And strategy-wise, I think Mercedes dropped the ball completely. Ryan Newton and Macaulay Bastet on fresh, slick tires, and barely a lap old. Bastet's hard tires have absolutely no grip. He's gonna have to go back in, and he's gonna have to fight his way all the way back up. There's a lot of changes of positions, a lot of battles going on because of the pit strategies. But a driver like Nathan Doan, who was battling for positions 12 and 13, suddenly finds himself in the top 10.
Yeah, so let's think about this. If this is the worst the rain is gonna get, right? Ryan and Mark could just try to survive, right? If they can keep within a pit stop of the team, or like say like they lose 10 seconds to Pichet right here, Pichet then will still have to pit back on the slick tires, whereas Ryan and Mark are still on their slick tires. So it really depends on how bad the rain's gonna get and how long it's gonna stay. But yeah, I think right now, I think they're just gonna stick to what they're on right now and just stay on those dry tires.
Well, some drivers are going to have to do so. Look at drivers like Marcel Paps, who's got the fresh mediums on. Jack Fletcher has not pitted yet. Could have taken advantage of going on the inters. He's not doing so as of now. You could tell he's struggling for grip there all over the track. Looking at Patodis and Kaigo here in the Aston Martin, it's very obvious that the turn-ins are a little bit more sloppy because of the lack of grip. As you know, your strategy is an interesting one, Sanjay, and from what I'm saying, it should stop raining in 6 minutes time. Well, not in 5 minutes time. So that's essentially, let's say two laps, or by the third lap, it should stop raining. Given that now
Right.
the race laps are just about 2 minutes time, or a little over that. It's a tricky one. Obviously, if you just went for slicks, you're gonna try to ride it out. But how much is this gonna hurt your time? Actually, I've got the time difference here, Sanjay. If you're on fresh mediums, the inters are just about 3 seconds a lap quicker than the
Wow.
mediums.
Yeah. So that's actually a huge amount. So I mean, Ryan and Mark still in third and fourth place, but yeah, it's like you just kind of have to hope. I think they're just hoping that they can get better track conditions. Because if they pit it now, I mean, well, they wouldn't be too far back. I think they would settle in right behind the McLaren of Nathan. But yeah, it's tough. It's a tough call to make.
I think a good opportunity here is to keep an eye on Marcel Paps. He's got a battle going on with Cam Bourne for P5. The driver in front of him is on the fresh intermediates. They both pitted at the same time. Cam Bourne going on to the intermediates. Marcel Paps on the mediums. He's within the second, I would say, of DRS. Obviously, DRS has been deactivated as of last lap or 2 laps ago. And oh boy, you could tell in the slow corners.
Yeah.
Marcel Paps has just lost about 3/10 there in that corner. Almost loses it. He's got to overcorrect his car constantly. And suddenly Cam Bourne finds himself a second and a half ahead of him. So I think our clear answer currently is the intermediates are way more, have a lot more performance in them. We're in lap 15 of 22. We've got 7 laps to go to be racing here. So a decision must be made right now for the drivers on the slick tires. And you can't go in lap 20 to go for the intermediates. Clearly, the rain is going to have stopped in there. We've got 3 minutes of rain left to go, according to our weather report. We'll see how that goes at that moment. And I believe there's somebody in the pits. That's Jack Fletcher.
Yeah, so Jack's in the pits. Hopefully he does not pitting for. He's petting for inters. This is where we're gonna see if he can make up that time, or when is he gonna have to pit in again for slick tires. But yeah, he makes the decision to get off those hard tires into the intermediates, and that puts him almost at last place.
Yeah, is that too little, too late in his situation? We'll find out. All in all, Sanjay, it's Nick Pichet, P1. He's got the lead of the race. We saw it coming, right? He was handling the hard tires. He kept them on for as long as he could in order to go on the intermediates. He read the weather strategy absolutely flawlessly, and he finds himself leading the race almost by 5 seconds ahead of Eric Cavallo, who had to pit the lap later. So not only did Pichet get the rhythm, he also was able to undercut most drivers around him. Ryan Newton, who was not so far behind Eric Cavallo, finds himself 7 seconds behind, and his teammate as well, Bastet. He's got to battle Cam Bourne. Cam Bourne, who's caught up to him, absolutely. Actually, yeah, he's right up there with him. He's gonna have the advantage definitely on the next Camel Straight. Although Cam Bourne has been very aggressive on his battery, we could see this McLaren, depending on the weather changes, we could see this McLaren finding himself on the podium now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the Mercedes right now, they're hoping for the rain to stop this lap or next lap. But yeah, Cam Bourne made that perfect decision to come into the pits to get on those inter tires at the same time as Bichet did. And I mean, he won up a ton of positions, and yeah, now he's sitting in 5th place with 2 people that haven't pitted in front of him, and he's lifting to make sure that he doesn't compromise his exit through the Camel Straight. And look at the speed he's gonna have into Le Combe, and yeah, he's gonna get the move done.
Yeah, so that's an overtake. He is now finding himself P4. Cam Bourne, who was, believe P2. No, he was P3 actually last season in the drivers' constructors behind Poole and Cavallo. So he's definitely one of the top drivers here in ZRL, and he's showing it again. A driver who's not usually scared of using the alternative strategy to find himself in overtaking positions. Well, this time, I mean, the intermediate is the right strategy, so I'm not going to say he's using the alternative strategy. However,
DRS is enabled.
so suddenly, we're seeing the DRS being re-enabled. So, you know, the rain has stopped. Now let's see how quickly it's going to dry up. This race is far from over, Sanjay.
Yes, now the scale is going to start tipping towards the people who are still on the slick tires, because if it dries up quick enough, the inter tires are going to be way slower, and they're going to have to pit. And again, we're going to see a bunch of positions switch around. Absolutely. So already, I'm not seeing any more raindrops. There's still a bit of spray coming from Ryan's car. I'm on board with Cam. There's still a bit of spray coming from his car, so it shows the track is still a bit wet. In the pits. Hudson Poole is in the pits, so this will be key. He's getting on the soft tires. Yep.
So that will be just about 6 laps of 5 laps full-on racing on the soft tires. He must have had an extra set of softs, I would assume. And as is who is that? Is that Maxime Beaulieu in behind as well in the pits? He's also going on for the softs. Anon Trivedi in the Alfa Romeo going in for the soft. So it's a soft tire party going on there. So I assume these drivers have an extra set of fresh softs. You don't want to be racing 5 laps on a used set of softs. It's not on this track, I would say.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the road. It's pretty much dry now. Within a matter of half a lap, it's now favors the dry tire. So now Pichet, Era, Cam, these guys have to pit, and now the lead probably goes back to Ryan here as we see an overtake happen. Mark overtakes Cam through into the entry of Pouillon, and yeah, I mean, now it's back into Mercedes side to win here.
An absolute crazy race. Cam Bourne has lost the position to Bastet, now in P5. Just to give you an idea, the current intermediate tire of Nick Pichet, if he would go pit for a fresh set of softs, he would be just about 6 seconds a lap quicker. He's going to stay on the intermediates, and now my worry is, given the track that has absolutely dried up as quick as it has, will those intermediates be heating up and overheating and causing a crazy lack of grip? I think Eric Cavallo is not taking that chance. He's going to go in for softs as well with 4 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, I think Pichet's just going to say he's taking the risk versus reward of pitting and trying to overtake the cars to get back to where he was. He'd rather just lose the positions and still get a high enough position to by the end of the race to be able to get good points here. But I mean, 13 seconds, 4 laps to go. Let's see if Ryan can do it.
Yeah, I think he can. I think he
Yeah,
can.
I do so too.
Absolutely. We're going to see that time completely melt off, especially if Pichet's tires are overheating. Let's keep an eye on it for the second half of this lap here. He's already at 13 seconds. And, you know, by the time he finished the sentence, he would have gained almost half a second already. And so in 4 laps time at that rhythm, will be doable. So, and maybe Nick Pichet is realizing that, and he's gonna have no choice but to pit. He does have a buffer, you know. He does have a buffer. He could find himself, you know, in the top 5 nonetheless if he goes for fresh softs, if he still has a pair. So we'll see what kind of strategy, and this will be the determining moment right now for Nick Pichet. If he decides not to pit, it's going to be too late for him to do so. Look at Ryan Newton already below the 12-second mark.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone's got the undercut on him now. So I think Pichet's going to sit it out. I think he's going to just say,
he's in the pits.
He's in the pits? Okay, yeah, so now, yeah, so he's made the decision. So I think he's going to come out right in front of Hudson, maybe behind Hudson.
Well, let's go on Hudson's POV and see where he does come out. The one thing that will advantage Pichet here is he has the fresh set of softs. So we'll see how he does in those circumstances. Oh, he's actually
well
fighting.
Ahead of Hudson.
Yeah, well ahead of Hudson. Definitely fighting for it with Era. Now the question is, does Pichet find DRS on Marcel Paps? Now that's an interesting one. Something we didn't really expect. Marcel Paps has been, you know, having a mid-race so far, I'd say, you know, flirting around with between P7 and P10, suddenly finds himself in a podium position. He's got drivers behind him with DRS, using their battery power as much as possible, fresh soft tires. I don't know if he's going to keep that podium position, but if he finds himself in the top 5, that will definitely be a great race for him.
Yeah, he's one of those drivers that didn't go into the pits, right? Same as Ryan and Mark. And it looks like that strategy worked out for them. So yeah, but I don't think he's gonna be able to keep this this position to Era, as Era's already going around the outside and takes that podium position away from him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the drivers behind him have way more grip, and Nick Pichet is going to try to make the move happen. He's got the inside on the next corner there. It's really close. He's being careful not to push Paps off the track there. And finally, he does make the move happen. Nick Pichet is in P4. He had to make the move happen as quick as possible. You don't want Era to be running away from you in those kind of circumstances. You want to keep within the DRS, and I think Pichet has successfully done so. Here, we're going to begin lap 20 of 22. 3 laps to go here in this race.
Yeah, now Era's within DRS of Mark. So Mark, he's gonna be under a lot of pressure. I mean, this is fresh softs. He's gonna have to try to defend till the softs kind of, I mean, the tire advantage is too great to Era right now, I'd say. Mark's just gonna have to try his really best to make sure that he can just stay out in front. He's out of battery, so is Era, so he's just gonna come down to DRS here to see if Era can overtake him. He's gaining. He looks to the inside, but I think he's just too far away to make that move happen.
Yeah, it's probably gonna happen next lap, but at this point, if you're Bastien, you're going to be playing the team game here. You're going to try to defend yourself as much as possible from Eric Cavallo, who is all-out attack. Cavallo thinks he could win this race, and if he wants to do so, he wants to overtake Bastien right now. One person who's definitely regretting his past couple corners is Nick Pichet, who's found himself a 3-second time penalty for going past the track limits too often during this race. And we got a perfect view on how Era is trying to position himself on the outside and getting the inside on the next corner here. It's not happening, and Bastien is all out defending. However, that probably gives an opportunity for Pichet. So close to contact there on the rear of Eric Cavallo. However, Pichet does the right move there to be safe and avoid the contact. You could tell the tire difference between Bastien, Cavallo, and Pichet is definitely allowing them to have the proper speed. And I think Carvalho is going to have an overtake on the outside here, just upcoming the bus stop chicane, and it is done. Eric Cavallo is let loose out there. However, Be careful, Camel straight DRS power with Marc-Olivier Bassin will probably allow him to battle for that P2 unless Bichet does a dive bomb a little bit on the inside in turn 1. It's a clean move. However, it's not a done deal yet. Basset is going to be able to battle for his position, but clearly Nick Pichet and Eric Cavallo have the better pace.
Yeah, I mean, Mark was, I think, just caught a little out of focus there, and Nick Pichet, what a good move into turn 1, clean. But yeah, now Mark's got a little bit more battery. He's gonna try to overtake, but it just does not get enough to get into turn 3, I guess. Would it be turn? No, it'd be turn 7. Sorry, into turn 7. But yeah, now they're just starting to pull away.
Yeah, their soft tires are definitely allowing them to pull away compared to the almost 10 lap-old tires that Marca has. However, he has done his role perfectly. Ryan Newton is still in the lead of his race. Eric Cavallo just broke the 3-second gap to the lead of the race. And so with, I would say, a lap and a half to go, will Eric Cavallo be in position to make that gap, melt that gap? Absolutely. And find Ryan Newton for potential overtake. We're going to keep an eye on the interval there. We're at 2.6 seconds. Nick Pichet is battling Eric Cavallo as well. So maybe if you're Ryan, you're hoping those two drivers fight each other and buy yourself some time. Because right now, Ryan Newton's absolutely drained his battery. He's got nothing left in the tank. And the advantage is going to go for the drivers behind him. So now the tire advantage and battery advantage is going towards those drivers. And we're already at a 2.4 second gap. Final lap, lap 22 begins now. Ryan Newton is in the lead, but he is at risk of losing such lead to either Eric Cavallo or Nick Pichet.
Yeah, and I mean, if you also look at Mark just has to make sure he stays within 3 seconds of Lightning to get that, or Pichet, sorry, to get that podium place. But behind Eruption's going to put a bunch of pressure on him for that. But Pichet is looking for a move. He's going to go down the inside of turn 4 here. Or turn 6, sorry. And he's gonna get that move done.
And he does, and he's got the DRS that allows him to close the gap to Ryan Newton. So now Newton has to not only be wary of Eric Cavallo, but also Nick Pichet, because Nick Pichet, despite having the 3-second time penalty, he's going for that win on track nonetheless. And he has closed that gap incredibly. There's something that's happened with Ryan Newton up ahead, most definitely.
Cam Bourne.
Oh, we've lost Cam Bourne, haven't we? Oh,
yeah.
My goodness. Right after, and Lick Holmes, it looks like he lost it. I don't know if that was with a battle with
it was a battle with Hudson, and I think Hudson they were just too close to each other and got on the curb, and Cam came out the worst of it. But yeah, he's still in P7, still a good race for him. But look how close Pichet is now to Ryan.
Absolutely incredible, the difference in pace, and I'm just wondering if Newton doesn't have maybe a little bit of damage or something that's, or if it's purely on the tires here. Look at Nick Pichet. He's mere inches away from his gearbox. He's getting all that heat from the engine, the Mercedes engine. He's going to try to go on the outside, maybe a little bit of a switchback, and he does, and a bit of a dime bomb there in the last corner. He's going to do the switchback. It's going to claim him the win. However, Ryan Newton, despite with the 3-second time penalty, comes away with the win. Nick Pichet finds a point with the fastest lap of the race in the final race here in Spa-Francorchamps. An absolute banger of a race. Ryan Newton had his first win last week in ZRL. He won in more. That is his second win in a row in the Mercedes. Eric Cavallo finds P2 after a great recovery with a bit of a sad race. He had the disappointing race he had last weekend. Nick Pichet, great pace from him, P3. And now we got them podium sitters. Marc-Olivier Basset, P4. Marcel Paps, an absolute great recovery race from him. Had the right strategy at the right moment. That is P5. Hudson Poole finds himself in P6. Not the race pace we're used to seeing. He qualified P5 and finished P6. Cam Bourne, very disappointing for him in the final instances of this race, having a spin in Bruxelles corner. Finds himself in, or actually in Lecombe, battling with Hudson. That finds himself P7. Kai Guo, P8. Great race from him. Maxime Beaulieu in P9. It's a P10 for Nathan Doan, so good points for McLaren nonetheless. And Anchovetti, P11. Josh Mulder, despite serving a qualifying ban, finds himself in P12. Magnussen Q, P13. Freddie Rizal, P14. Kyle Blevins, Nick Hamrick, Jack Fletcher, and Mac, the research driver for Aston Martin, bring up the rear. with a DNF from Duncan McCamick in the Alpine.
Yeah, I mean, what a race from Ryan. And in the end, yeah, I mean, Bichet drove really well in the end. You know, I thought he was not going to get a podium because of that 3-second penalty. And he did his very best and even got the fastest lap of the race right at the end there while doing overtakes. So great race from Bichet. I think he made all the right decisions. Yeah, but in the end, Ryan extends his lead in the championship. And I think it's looking like a real possibility now that he could go on and win the whole thing.
That was an absolute statement race for Ryan Newton. 2 wins in a row definitely puts him way ahead in the driver's standings. Great performance from him once again. I think Bastet definitely has. We'll be able to ask him in the interviews, right? But Bastet definitely helped out, trying to hang on to the lead or to P2 as long as possible until Eric Cavallo and Nick Bichet got past him. So
Actually, Mark got 4th place in the end. So
yeah, I mean it's still good, right?
yeah, it is. So Mercedes pick up a lot of good points here, and
Absolutely.
they're also just going to start flying away in the constructors.
All right, we're gonna set ourselves up for interviews. I'm gonna check with Nick Bichet, given the fact that he's in P3, he will be there in the interviews. However, he's a French Canadian young man, so I'll see if he wants to do it in English or if he prefers I do a little bit of translation.
Mm-hmm.
So that may. Okay, he's gonna try it out in English, and if anything, he'll say something in French, and I will translate. So let me just let him know. All right, we got everybody there. So let's go with our P3 finisher here. There we go. Nick Bichet. It was a great battle. A bit of a late lunge into the pit stops, going from intermediate tires into the softs. It's a great race, but do you regret the timing of your pit stop at the end of the race?
Yeah, definitely. I pitted 1 lap later, and it probably cost me the race. And I didn't want to pit because I wasn't losing too much time to Ryan. And finally, but I saw that the track was drying out too quickly, so I knew that I had to pit, and I made the wrong call. But yeah, at the end I pitted, but my 3-second penalty cost me the race. But yeah, it's a shame, but my bad. That's on me.
I mean, you still drove like honestly one of the best races here. You made all the right decisions. Decided to pit. You pitted at the right time to get into the intermediate tires and took the lead of the race and extended that lead. But I mean, what a move at the end there to take that on track race win. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I wanted to win on track at least, but yeah, this was a good move. I knew he would probably open the inside to get a better line in the corner, so I knew I had to take the inside, and I achieved to do that. And I thought I might have a break too late, but at the end it passed and pretty clean, I think. And yeah, good move.
Absolutely. Given the performance on this race, how are you viewing the rest of the season? Are you thinking of battling for a top 3 position in the championship?
Yeah, I wanted to battle for the championship, but the race I missed in Imola, I think put me out of the fight. But yeah, I'm aiming for a top 3, and I just need to improve my quali pace, and I think I'll be there.
All right, well, we'll see how that goes. Definitely a young man who wants to improve his quality pace, but I think the team principal in Alfa Romeo is most definitely proud of you for that performance, opening up this race week here in ZRL. Congratulations for your P3, Nick Bichet. What a race you had, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you. All right, well, for young man, definitely had a good English there. So let's go with our P2 finisher with Eric Cavallo. Eric Cavallo in qualifying suddenly comes out with a bomber of a lap to take the pole. Finds himself in P2 with a very interesting race in regards to the race strategy. How did you plan out your? How did you manage your pit stops, given the very random? I'm gonna use that word. It's a random track week. It's a random weather we definitely had tonight. So how did you manage that race tonight, Era?
Yo, hey there, Ranger, Spunini. Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so for the qualify, uh, there was a very bad traffic to start the last try, and
Yeah.
I started my lap with 3 seconds remaining, and someone was close to me, in front of me, and gave me a massive toll on the first sector. My first sector was very good. Um, I think I had a little lower wings because I was good on first sector, I was good on the third sector, and the second sector I was losing like 2 or 3 tenths to the fastest guys on the sector 2. But this all just gave me the pole because it was very close with Ryan. I think I had 1/10 with that toll. That was a surprise to me because I have poor qualifies. Usually, if I make a pole, I know I will have a very strong race because I'm a poor qualifier. For the race, for a while, I thought it was in my hands. But when I saw Nicholas chasing me, he was taking 1 second per lap from me. I knew it was his race. Because the guy was so damn fast today. But sadly, he got 3 seconds and finished at P3. And Ryan had the perfect call on stay on track. I was thinking on stay on track, also stopping for softs, but I don't know. The call was very close. So, hands up for Ryan. Was a very perfect strategy from him. And yeah, I think that's it. The qualifying was a surprise, and the race, I think the pace was there for the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, we saw like when the rain started, who made the right decision? Most drivers pitted onto that Inters, but we were really surprised to see Mercedes stay out on those dry tires. But in the end, it worked out. But I mean, you still maximized what you got there, pitting onto the Inters, getting off the Inters on the right lap.
Yeah,
I think that just comes down to engineers. They have engineers. I think Williams today didn't have engineers, so yeah, those kind of
yeah.
things can.
I don't know how these guys stood on track. It was so damn wet. I don't know
Yeah.
how they stood on track. I stopped 1 lap later for the intermediate tires. Nicholas stopped 1 lap before me. I lost like 6 seconds on this. On the second time, I stopped first for the soft tires. I think it was the right decision. He had fresher tires for the remaining of the race, but his pace was better. No matter if I had the same old tires like him, the same lap. I stopped on the same lap. He was faster today, so
Mhm.
I think being on P2 is good tonight.
Yeah.
Absolute good performance tonight, Era. I know last season you mentioned to me that you wanted to fight for the championship this season. In Imola, it didn't go exactly your way, but you're back here on the top points. What do you have to do to beat the top drivers in this season, which surprisingly so far is not Hudson Poole, but it's Ryan Newton with 2 wins in a row, who's starting to gain some momentum. How are you gonna manage that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think because it was a random GP, there was no time for the grinders to practice, and so I think it was good for me because I have not been playing lately, so I really don't know if I will be able to fight for the championship. Ryan is in so good shape. He is so good on the qualifying, on the race. I think both guys on Mercedes. It's going to be very hard to fight them. And if I have time for practicing for the next races, maybe. But for Imola, I didn't had practice, and now I had a 1 hour practice, the same as everybody, I guess. So yes, hand-on GPs are good for me. But the GPs that people know what's going to be, they will grind it, and if you have time for it, you are going to match it.
All right, really interesting comments here from Eric Cavallo. Congratulations on your P2 finish, and we will see you in the next weeks.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, guys. You have a good night.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night,
you, you
Eric.
too.
And bringing in our race winner, this time for a second time in a row. He's starting to get used to winning. Ryan Newton, you're back on the top step of the podium here in Spa. My first question is, how did you manage the very random weather that we had this race?
Uh, just I had a lot of faith in my engineers. I will say. We got into the session. We thought it looked to be dry the whole time, and I mean that would have been fine too. I think I had a pretty good shot at winning if it was dry too. But I mean the weather was definitely unpredictable. Because early, like first few laps, I started getting the radio messages from the in-game engineer, whatever. Oh, Jeff or whatever his name is.
Mark.
Oh, yeah, we don't care. And he was saying that rain coming in like 10 minutes, and I was like, that was put a bit of fear into me a bit because I wasn't expecting the wet. Also, with my setup, wasn't exactly made for the wet. But we decided to just stick through with the original strategy to go to soft medium, and the rain started coming down. We were hoping it wouldn't rain too hard, but I mean, as you can see, the DRS got disabled, which that's when things got a little tough. But because we had a few guys box for the Inter, Era, Nicholas Piche, they both went for Inter, and they both overtook me and Mark, and we weren't sure, but Cody kept telling me it's gonna dry, but my heart was pounding for a bit. I have to admit, just hoping it would dry quick enough because Piche was building that gap. He was definitely, his pace was insane. I think if he built that gap anymore, I think I would have lost that race though. But good stuff. I mean, him and Era, they had good races. Congrats to them. But I'm happy to get another win. I think this random GP. I mean, I got pole here last season, so I think Belgium was a pretty strong track for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was in my head thinking when both the Mercedes stayed out, I was like, this is definitely a Cody call right here. Cody totally told him that you guys should stay out on the medium tires, and I was wondering, yeah, when that track would dry up, and I think it like instantly dried up. Like within half a lap, I saw the rain stop, I saw the track dry out, and I was like, oh, now the race is back into the Mercedes hands, and I mean, you guys handled that really well.
Yeah, just had faith in Cody. I know. I mean, it's definitely scary, not knowing if it was actually gonna dry. Because we had a similar case last year. Last season at Spa. We didn't know if it was gonna dry,
right?
Or like start raining, and we didn't have the best strategy calls last season. It costed us, but I'm glad I kept faith in him today. Got the win. I hope not Mark. Nicholas can't get that removed. I don't think he can.
Yeah, it's hard
The
to.
3 second?
Yeah, it's
I
a
don't
3
think
second
so.
for track limits unless he was battling someone or avoiding an incident. But I don't think he. I think he got that all on himself. So I think the win should stay. But you never know. We'll see. We'll see throughout the week. I'm pretty sure though. That win will remain to you because indeed that very last second battle there at the bus stop chicane where Nick Piche absolutely sent it on you and then did the little bit of a switchback for the on track win. Just at the very end, you had such a difference in pace. Was that just purely on the tires? Did you have damage at the end, or what was going on there?
That was mostly just tire. His softs were just insanely fast. I think he had the freshest sauce out of anybody. So
Yeah.
I think looked for the switchback on that final corner, but I decided to. I didn't have the Griffin, so I just decided to stay behind. It would have been
Yeah.
nice to win the race on the track, but I'm definitely happy with the result, though.
Yeah, and probably you
Well-
didn't fight it as hard knowing that you had a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah,
you
but I
wanna
also
avoid the
didn't.
contact and the other drivers behind you
Yeah.
overtaking him.
Yeah, I also didn't expect the switchback. I mean, not the switchback, the dive bomb from him,
Yeah.
because I had the white arrow under braking, and he sent it. And I think if I defended it, I probably still would have held position, but he. But I mean, it was a good move from him.
Yeah, I think it was a mature move. I think from both, he was definitely looking for the on-track win, and in your case, you kind of wanted to fight him, but not too much, given the fact that he had the 3 second. You're the person you didn't want to dive bomb you like that would be Era, who didn't have a penalty. But given the situation, you still come out with the win. So you know that'll be interesting if you're gonna be able to make that 3 in a row next week. Just looking for that calendar, the schedule here. Next week he's going to be in Brazil, so and a sprint race, so it's going to be an interesting race. For you and for other drivers, definitely. Congratulations on your win, Ryan, and we'll see you most probably next week once again.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Spanini. Well, that concludes our race in Belgium. The weather again being a player and really changing up the order here in this race. Mercedes are starting to gain traction, starting to gain a lot of points, possibly running away with the championship. However, we've only done round 3. We still have 7 more rounds to go. What are your views and your predictions for Brazil next weekend?
Yeah, so considering it's a sprint weekend, I think now we get to see like maybe Hudson make I think he's been a little unlucky on the past few races. Like we saw him out in Imola, he's competing for the win. Like when he starts off well and doesn't get into any issues. But yeah, I mean, first race bad quality, second race I think he didn't do his pit stops quite well. Like the decision of when to go in. That kind of held him back. But I mean, these are the kind of drivers that are very good in race pace. I think this weekend will help them a lot, and they get a whole week to grind for it. So, but I think Mercedes right now, the ball's in their court. They're doing really well. And they have a lot to they have a good foundation to build on for the rest of the season. So I expect them to do pretty well too.
Yeah, Brazil, doesn't offer a lot of overtaking opportunity, but that main straight definitely is a big factor for overtaking, and we might see the kind of situation we saw last season in real life with Alonso and Perez there. So, be a curious kind of race, but Brazil definitely usually brings it on with very entertaining races here in ZRL. A very popular track here with our drivers. So on that note, we will be definitely seeing you next week. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Nathan Doe and Magnus Cube are going to be the commentators or broadcasters for the Division 2 race. They're also doing a random race. We don't know what track it is. It is not Belgium. Or if it is, it's going to be by complete randomness. And we'll see how Division 2 goes tomorrow night. On that note, I'm going to bid you everybody farewell. Thanks for commentating with me, Sanjay. And we'll see everybody next weekend. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.